What's good, guys? My name is Sam, and this weekend I hiked Ross Peak. If you're like me, before doing this hike, I probably spent about an hour and a half looking online trying to find someone else's recap of this hike where they showed off the exposure and how hard the scramble actually was, but I couldn't find anything. So I decided to just go up and give it a go with my buddy and see how it went, and I decided to make that video on my own. Now, we went up not knowing anything ourselves, but even so, there's a pretty defined path all the way to the top, and we only had to use our own route finding like maybe a couple times, and it always worked out. Before I start the video, I just want to say that the All Trails route that I took will be included in the description. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to do a little bit of a more in-depth recap. Also, over the course of this hike, I was actually sick, which made everything probably about 3 times as hard. So if I could do it, so could you. All right, we made it to the trailhead. It's about 11:10, and we're about to get after it. Let's get it.
Hell yeah.
We're 2 miles in, made it to the pass, and about to climb that. Let's see how it goes. All right, we just took a fairly steep climb up from the pass down there up to here. Wasn't too bad, but pretty steep. And then this is the first scramble that we're looking at up this little ravine here. And it definitely isn't as straight up as it looks on camera. It may be a 35-40 degree angle. Yeah. First little section. This is about as steep as it's been so far, and wasn't too bad. And there's plenty of rocks to hold on to. And it's fucking pretty. Not too crazy, plenty of stuff to hold on to. Came from right there. Not too bad. All right, this is the worst exposure we've had so far. Still not too crazy, but a little gnarly. We came from over there, didn't climb up that way, so the climb isn't that bad, but getting a little more exposed. All right, next section. A little sketchy, but still not too bad. Just had to do a little bit of the climb. Didn't come from that ravine down there, came from around the corner. False Peak over there. Hasn't been any steeper than the first couple of videos, but it looks like it's about to get a little steeper. But yeah, we'll keep you covered. Documented it. It's pretty. Woo. All right, just came up that, not too bad. Little bit of a scramble here, but if you fall, you're not going to go much of anywhere. But still a little crazy. He's going the harder route. I think the easy route would be right there, and that's not too bad. It's not like real crazy rock climbing. It's still scrambling, I would call it. All right, this is a little knife's edge, for sure, a little bit. All right, we made it to the top in about 2.5 hours, and we've been chilling here for a good 20 minutes now. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I mean, the worst of it I got on video. So you could kind of look at that and decide if that's something you'd be able to do. And I mean, it was a great hike. It's kind of sketchy at times. The knife ridge definitely had the most exposure, but you know, pretty low risk of falling. And then some of the ones that had a higher risk of falling didn't have, like, they had exposure, but not many parts were too bad. And all the parts that seemed to have decent handholds. I guess the worst part was probably back there ways when I said, I don't remember what I said, but I'll show a picture of it. If you fell there, it would have sucked, and it was like a little bit sketchy. That was probably as sketchy as it got. And then that little climb near the top was like a little sketch, but like really easy. Just like, you know, like 30 feet or something. Definitely not straight up, maybe only like class 3, like barely. But yeah, some false peaks there and whatnot. And yeah, we're gonna start heading back down to the bottom and we'll see how the descent is. Into the sketchy stuff. A little loose here, but nothing too bad. There's been rocks to hold on to so far. Pretty. You fucking made it. I'm tired and I'm sick, but
you got up there. That's what matters, right?
Yes, sir. Time to drive back home. All right, so we did the hike even though I was sick, and it turned out to be a pretty awesome day. One thing I would say to sum up the scramble is that while there was some exposure that was gnarly and most of it wasn't, I never felt uncomfortable in the sense of not having something to hold on to. Even though there was a lot of scree and a lot of loose rock that we were traveling over most of the time, I felt that during all those times I almost always had something to hold on to, and in the times that I didn't, those were the times where the exposure wasn't that bad. Although with that said, there definitely was some gnarly, sketchy parts that could be bad if a fall were to take place, so keep that in mind. The video of me walking down the ridge just after beginning the descent was definitely the scariest that the hike ever looked. But even throughout that entire time, I felt that there was always reliable footing, and the ridge never got less than maybe 4 feet wide. The two things I would probably recommend bringing are trekking poles and shoes with good grip, and I didn't have either of those things, and I made it okay. But with that said, I would still recommend those things. So besides the scramble, the hike was pretty chill. It ended up being 6.5 miles total, with probably 4.5, 5 of those miles being below the scramble. Besides the scramble, the trail was super well maintained and easy to follow and well signed as well. And also besides the scramble, you could find the whole trail on AllTrails or Strava, and I'm sure some other places. One final piece of advice that I have is to get an app like AllTrails or Strava and track your route on the way up. That way on the way down, you could retrace your steps so you don't get lost and cliffed out. But yeah, that's going to conclude the video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps, and if you end up doing the hike, let me know in the comments how it goes. Get off your phone and go outside. Have a good day.